Okay, fine. All right. I've got the AirPods connected for the first time ever to my iPad.
There you go.
I can
It
hear
is
people, see
all
people.
We should make
all
this a
good.
tech show.
I should have called
I
in
think.
earlier. I'll take responsibility for that.
All right. So you're standing, Nick. You're not going to sit down? Be comfortable?
I don't. No, the opposite. The diaphragm is wide open. I can communicate. I can use my hands.
Okay. All right, man. So
Does that
Jeff's
make you
going to
uncomfortable?
start us off, and then whatever makes you comfortable. So Jeff's going to start us off, and we're going to go.
All right, we ready?
Love it.
Everybody's recording. I'm recording. Vince, you recording? Nick,
I'm
is your
recording,
iPod now
yes.
recording, or iPad, or iPhone rather? Oh my gosh.
God, man, I wish I had an iPod still.
Your iPhone voice memo is recording.
What's an
It's
iPod?
super.
I'm just kidding.
All right, let's go.
It is recording.
Go. 3, 2. All right, welcome to another awesome episode of Meet the New Boss. This is Jeff Niebuhr, your co-host. With me always is
Vince Catanzaro.
Vince Catanzaro. How you doing today, Vince?
I'm doing good. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
I'm awesome. We're in the thick of football season. I saw my lovely Auburn Tigers down at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. I took my 17-year-old son, and it looked like we were going to lose the entire game, but somehow we came back and won. So who knows when this airs? Maybe at that point, Auburn will be named reigning national champions of all sports in the universe. That may happen between now and this actually getting broadcast. What do you think of that prediction?
I think that's a long shot, but you never know.
All right, well, we have a guest here. Let's quit talking about Auburn football. This is Meet the New Boss. Vince, who's our guest today?
Our guest is the CEO of the Gwinnett Chamber, Nick Masino. Nick has been a long-time friend, I guess, of both of us, but our worlds haven't collided yet.
Yeah, this has been a weird moment bringing Nick into the fold here. Why don't you go ahead and bring him on?
Nick, welcome.
Vince, Jeff, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. It's very exciting. And so I know you through a personal friend, but also through the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. I was a member of a company that was actually members of Gwinnett for a little bit. But tell me, how long have you been at the chamber?
I joined the chamber in the role of Vice President of Economic Development in February of 2007.
Wow.
I've been in my current role since July of 2019.
Wow, that's a long time. That's great. That's great.
It is the longest I've ever worked anywhere.
Well, I think you must like it, obviously, but we want to hear all about it. How did you make the move? I think it's really interesting to our topic is, how did you make the move from, a senior vice president, I think was a title, but, in charge of Gwinnett County is one of the largest counties. All these stats, right? One of the largest counties and most impressive counties in the state, if not the country. And you've been at the helm leading the economic development. And then you step into the C-suite, the C-level. How was that transition for you? Were you like, I got my list of 20 things I need to make happen, and then you get there and all 20 are happening now? Or was it, oh my gosh, this is a different scene than I thought from a different office? Describe like how you progressed in that move.
You bet. So Jeff, your first A, if the choice was A or B, was A. I had a list of things that I knew that we needed to do that we could be better at, and a list of things that we were really good at, and I wanted to double down on those. And because I had been in the organization for 12 years, my peers were folks on the senior leadership team. There were other folks in the team as we made adjustments that I brought up to the senior leadership team. And I like to play chess, not checkers. And I wanted to play to people's strengths, unlike the Clemson football offense. And we've been accomplishing that for the last 2 years. And thank God we got the right people in the seat prior to Q1 of 2020, because I think that we flourished when many of our peers and other organizations did not in the last 18 months.
Great.
Well, Nick, I had reached out to you, and I'll close the loop on Nick and I's relationship. So I was developing a piece of commercial real estate in the great city of Suwanee, Georgia, and Nick was the mayor of Suwanee at the time, most favorite politician in the state of Georgia for like 12 years running, something like that. And so I reached out to him to kind of see like, hey, what does the city think about what we're doing? But my first question is how does a an Italian become mayor of Suwanee, Georgia?
And Vince, if I remember correctly, you said, "How does a Yankee Italian become a mayor of the town of Georgia?"
That's a good
Actually,
memory. I did say that. Yes.
they've accidentally elected other Italians, but not many Yankees.
They didn't know. The
Yeah,
that's
it was
great.
it was Italian on the maternal side. That's how they accidentally got elected.
Hey, so I had reached out to you about maybe some leadership topics, and you blew some big fancy college word back at me, like Enneagram or something like that, and I didn't even know what it meant. So let me turn that over to you to talk about a leadership passion.
Thanks, Vince. And by the way, when all of us were in college, except maybe Joseph, uh, nobody, the Enneagram wasn't around. This is a more recent thing. And like a lot of those tools that you might use to, um, have someone test to get an idea where they're at, what their passions are, Enneagram is just one of the newer, hipper versions of that. And I'm a big fan of it. Our whole team takes it. Our new employees take it. We're right now talking about should we have our candidates take it, but I think it's a candidate market right now. We don't need to slow anything down. But so Enneagram is going to put people in about 8 different buckets based on their personality traits, their passions, what's in their 70%, what's in their 30%. The 70% is that stuff that you're passionate about. The 30% of that stuff you don't really want to do, but it's called adulting. You have to do it. I don't want to do anything detailed, but I have to like do my expense report once a month. But it kind of puts people in a position or in a role in a bucket, and then it shares a lot of examples of this is how to best communicate to this person. What's their superpower? And there's things that Vince, you and I might share as a superpower, and Jeff and I might share it, but it actually may not. You may see it as a weakness, but you have to, it's a way to communicate with people better, and it's pronounced and spelled it's Enneagram with an E.
And how did you first get into it?
Well, as I shared with Vince, I'm a student of leadership, and I go to leadership conferences when they used to have conferences. I would go to LeaderCast, Live to Lead, a lot of local things. I've fallen in love with podcasts and try to listen to as many podcasts as possible. My biggest, you didn't ask, but I'll answer it for you. My favorite business related one is actually How I Built This. And I tell young people that want to go get their MBA, I just say save a ton of money, listen to 50 How I Built This podcasts in a row, and you basically have an MBA, or maybe would actually have more than someone with an MBA. And Enneagram just around. It's used in education. It's used in religious organizations. I love it when it's used and applied in business situations. And we have found it tremendously helpful to communicate and play to people's strengths. It identifies what their strengths are.
Well, excellent. I know you have a recruiter background before you entered the world of public service, and I have an executive search business where we do some psychometrics, I guess that would be called. We are certified partners for the predictive index, and so we use predictive index with all of our customers and candidates, both from a communication style, behaviors, and try to do the best cultural match that we possibly can. And I kind of describe it as Moneyball, right? We're trying to get as much data that we can to reduce the possibility of a poor hire. So we can take that, if we could take that from probably the average is 50%, if we can reduce that to 10%, 5%, then we're making a financial impact for our clients. And so we use the predictive index every single day. Yeah.
It's just another version of that, and they're all based on a lot of the same theories and studies. And so this one, it just seems to be kind of the one that younger people really like, the Enneagram. The 8 buckets you put into, people really seem to identify with. But it's the same thing. We have not gotten to the point where, and we're considering it literally right now, about bringing someone onto the leadership team. And so there's these different buckets, and I'm a 3, which is basically I'm a driver. And then a 2 is somebody that's going to be more caring, and they're going to want to know how you feel. And I don't really care how you feel. Like, let's get this project done. And so we've got like 4 3s from the Enneagram. We have 4 3s on our leadership team of 8 people. And they're like, for God's sake, do not bring on another 3. We got plenty of them. We need to spread it out and get some other personalities in there. And so we might literally, for our next hire, it would be the first time we've ever done pre-employment testing. I mean, of course, we do pre-employment screening. And Vince, I know because of similar backgrounds in the recruiting, staffing, and headhunting industry, I was really big on let's test all of our salespeople. I mean, you're either a salesperson or you're not. And the reality is we haven't done it, but we've actually, by great interviewing questions. By the way, you referenced something a moment ago that reminded me of the top grading interviewing questions. As you said, well, the best you can get is 50%, right? Without any testing, which is totally like the top grading principle. If you don't ask top grading situational questions in an interview, or you don't do any testing, well, there's a 50-50 chance the person's going to work out. But if you actually do some homework, you can improve it. If you set up to 5%, good luck with that. If you can get to 70%, I think that's incredible.
So let's talk about, that's interesting. Let's talk about what are there's 9, right? So I pulled them up. So I'm somewhat familiar with it. But I want to hear, let's talk about each one a little bit. Then maybe we'll talk about music because they're awesome about music too. So the first one is the perfectionist. Tell us a little bit about what that means maybe to you, Nick. Like, how does that play out in
Jeff,
the real
I'm
world?
pretty confident you, Vince, and all the listeners know exactly what that one is. It's that like the person where even though 80% was good enough, they're never going to be satisfied until 100% is perfect. And when I'm coaching that person, I try to get them off. 100% is unnecessary. And we were all raised, we got to do 110%. Well, the reality is the last 20% is always the hardest. But if it's going to basically take you from an A plus to an A, like an 80, a 97 to a 98, who cares? You're going to kill yourself in the last 20% for something that's almost not measurable. And so when I'm coaching people, I'm always like, you're going to kill yourself. Perfection doesn't exist anyway. And you're gonna bother about all these little details that you're the only one that sees. The clients don't care. Your peers don't care.
Well,
so
go ahead.
I had an example of this. I was releasing an album, and so I was doing all the production work, and it was great fun. But you kind of get close to it, and it's hard to even think, does it still sound good or muddy or whatever? And I was learning a lot as I was doing it, and I picked up a phrase from the movie industry that I thought was very interesting. I was doing podcast learning, and they said, movies are never complete. Movies are released, right? And I thought that was just such a great choice of words. And so I knew this other guy kind of through online stuff, and I probably would place him in the perfectionist category. So and he's a huge music fan. So I sent him the music. I sent him like a Dropbox link. I'm like, hey, if you got any time, just, give it a listen. I'm about to print, about to release it. And this is my shot to, add EQ or take away something. And sure enough, like the next weekend, he said, on this song, the bass is too loud. On that song, I think you got a piece of noise at, 1 minute and 12 seconds. I'm like, it's perfect. That's exactly what I needed, was another set of ears and this type, kind of personality type.
Jeff, can I add a quick story that I think you'll like?
Sure, yeah, that'd be great.
My 19-year-old son, sophomore in college, is in the music industry. Cool. He's got Vinny, I think it's Vinny Masino on Spotify. He's got one song that's got over 1 million listens.
Wow.
And he knows this. He's probably an average singer. He's much better with the guitar. He's much better at putting things together. But his first 4 releases, the songs abruptly end, awkwardly. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what's up with that? And he's like, I just got bored.
Got bored.
I'm done.
Good enough.
It's good enough.
That's fine. So he's not a 1.
That's his hook. That's his style.
Yeah, maybe that's his thing.
Okay, you're right. That's where he's got that going.
All right, let's move on. Next one is
Let's just
the
let's do this.
giver. So the giver, you touched on this a little bit, Vince or Nick. What I heard you say is a lot of threes in the office. Maybe we need a couple twos. It reminds me of a great Seinfeld bit where Seinfeld and Elaine are talking about one of Seinfeld's lady friends, and she says, how can you be with her? You're such a taker, and she's such a giver. And he's like, that's perfect. If there were two takers, it'd be terrible. I'm a taker. She's a giver. It works out perfectly.
Yeah, everyone's getting what they need.
That's right.
So we have a wonderful two on our team,
Oh,
and
sorry.
she will joke and say, and she'll get teared up about other things dealing with other people. She's like, I was like, are you crying? She's like, no, I'm crying for them.
Yeah.
She'll get uncomfortable for them. So, but she's awesome because she's an incredible litmus test to all the threes and the other people in the organization, because she's going to think through, like, or sometimes we'll be like, hey, what would a nice person do in this situation? Or, how should we respond if we actually had feelings? And so it's great. And we're better because she's on the team.
Awesome. Let's move on to where we started a little bit, the achiever, number 3. Vince, have you self-rated yourself at this stage of the game? Are you the achiever, or are you still holding out and seeing where you end up?
I could tell you that my business partner is a 1. I don't need her to take the test, because the children would tell you that, they come home with a 95, and dad's like, hey, great job. And mom's like, well, what could you have done to get that
what'd you miss?
5%?
Yeah, what'd you miss?
Yeah, well, I don't know. What could you have done differently to get that 100?
Right.
So she can't help it. It's how she's wired. I don't know all the buckets, but I could tell you on the predictive index, I'm a captain, right? So I'm a driver, right? Super low patience, informal, social, and pretty dominant, high dominance. So that's what my
Vince just described it.
Yeah, that's great. Jam-packed schedule, meetings, extremely busy on the go.
Leave the details to somebody else.
Great. All right, cool. Let's move on. Type 4, the individualist. I one time interviewed, I was tasked, I got called from Verizon HR, pretty high up, like VP, and she's like, Jeff, can you do me a favor? I'm like, yeah. How close are you to University of Alabama? I'm like, it's not close. She goes, I need you to drive there tonight. We're sponsoring a thing tomorrow. The person that was supposed to be there got sick. It's at University of Alabama. And I'm like, I went to Auburn. I don't know that I can even go to Tuscaloosa. I mean, whatever. So I went and I interviewed. It was the Female Computer Club, Women in Tech Club. And I interviewed maybe 7 students. They're all like kind of about to graduate. And man, I went in with a bias against Alabama, which is not fair and probably shallow of me, but they blew me away. I would have hired all of them, including one who was the supreme individualist. She was like so on a different wavelength. I would ask a question and she would like ask me questions, and then eventually her path that we were taking was much better than what I had started with, and whatever. I mean, she was incredibly smart, but she was so strange and so breaking the mold. And I told the HR person, I'm like, well, I don't know that she'll fit in at Verizon. I mean, Verizon's a pretty big company, and I'm like, but if we can find a place for her, she could be president. She could be CEO of the company, because she's so against the mold of everything else that we didn't offer a job. That was all they needed to hear. Like, no, we want people that can control, not control us. That's what it basically came down to. But what about you, Nick? Do you have an individualist that you can call to mind, or a story?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have, and culture is super important to us. And it's in the last couple companies I've worked for, previous to the chamber, culture was really important. And the individualist doesn't really care about culture, and they don't really work out on our team, and we don't really have any. And if we've had them, they have probably been redirected outside the organization.
Okay, cool.
And so what we do, Jeff, is we spend a lot of time during the interview process
Mm-hmm.
talking about culture. And I like to use the little analogy that culture is like a bowl of soup, and the soup has a flavor. And when you join the organization, you're a new seasoning or ingredient. It'll change
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, but we still want the soup to taste good.
Right.
It's still got to taste good. We've got to enjoy it. We're okay if it changes a little bit.
Interesting.
So the individualists probably wouldn't want it. They wouldn't like that analogy because they don't want to be in a soup.
No, they want to be a side
separate
dish.
entree.
Yeah,
Side
a separate
dish,
entree.
entree.
That's right.
Well, let's do this, Jeff. Let's just, in order for time, because we don't want to make this the longest podcast we've ever recorded. Let's just hit the other topics real quick, and then we can.
All right, cool. There's
talk
the
about-
investigator, the
What else?
skeptic, the enthusiast, the challenger, and the peacemaker.
Nice.
Great
Hey,
topics.
let me. So one of our folks in our team's a peacemaker, and she's one of those folks that she's always listening. She does not like. I have an opinion about everything. Like it's like I've watered down my voice so much because I'm always talking. When she speaks, everyone stops and looks at her,
Mhm.
and whatever she says is always amazing. And she can just say like 5 words, and will complete do a 180 because she has spoken.
Right. That's
And
great.
she's always right.
That's cool. So, and give us the name of it one more time. Say it one more time for us.
Enneagram.
Enneagram. So, Nick, we believe here on Meet the New Boss that we will soon be your favorite business podcast. But one of the things that we believe in is that there's a tie between the music that's influenced us and the people that we've become. So just wanted to take you back a little bit, maybe when you were young, when you were first kind of getting your own music, where music wasn't like what your parents were playing on the radio, but when you were kind of becoming your own person and listening to music, what were some of your early influences?
Sure, that's great. And of course, I can't just answer the question. My brother played the guitar. My older brothers all liked Def Leppard and Rush. Neil Peart was a god to one of my brothers, who was the just passed away, I think, drummer of Rush. I pretended to like all of those things, but I was embarrassed. I never admitted it to anybody. I love pop. I mean, absolutely. Kasha Goo Goo, Men at Work, all those great '80s bands, which I still love to listen to. But I will tell you, when I went off to college in 1989. My musical world opened up to grunge, and I literally was listening to Stone Temple Pilots on the way home from work today, and super love grunge music. And unless you're into it, no one really wants to listen to it. My wife's like, "Can you turn it down?" What she really means is turn it off. But I like other genres. Genre. I'll tell you, the Andre Bocelli. I saw him in concert 2 years ago. He's incredible.
I remember us talking about this 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was awesome. One of the greatest.
You see one of the tenors? What do you?
Yeah, he's
what
one
do
of
you?
the 3 tenors. And I'm such an idiot. Did not know he was blind until I was at the concert. And I was like, oh, that's why he's always like looking off in the distance and all the photos. But he was super awesome. So I'm open to things. Actually, Pepe Aguilar is playing at the Gas South Arena this Friday night, and I might go for the first half hour, which is like a Mexican band. Hey, you guys, you love this. Pepe Aguilar singing on stage while his son is riding a bull or lassoing a horse, and his daughter is sitting on a horse singing, playing the guitar. It's the crazy. So it's a bull riding, lassoing concert all in one at Gas South Arena. I saw him 2 years ago.
That sounds like something out of a Simpsons episode.
Let me tell you, everything's in Spanish, no habla español. And so I felt like I was in a Simpsons episode, but it was great.
Well, that's cool that you got such an open mind to those kind of things. I saw something similar this past weekend. I was in, you had mentioned that you made a trip back to the motherland, and for you and I, that would be Italy. But in many ways, I made a trip back to the motherland over the last couple of weeks and took my son to a boys' trip in New York, which included going to see Alice Cooper. And
wow.
So we went to an Alice Cooper concert. It was quite amazing. And he does all these crazy stage theatrics. And probably the weirdest thing that happened, which made me think of when you were talking about lassoing a bull during the show. He does a song that's related to Jason, the horror movies. I forget what those are called, but whatever the character Jason, he has a song, Man Behind the Mask. And during that song, a girl, a young lady, teenager, comes out, from back behind stage with a press photographer taking pictures. Like, I won a contest, I got to go on stage with Alice Cooper during the show, and they're taking pictures, and she's dressed completely normal compared to like him and the band that are all, in wild rock and roll outfits, and while they're taking the pictures, Jason comes up from behind her and then slits her throat and kills her. And on stage, and it was just like, wait a second, like that was just like so weird. But that was Alice Cooper.
That's a nice father and son experience. Really heartwarming.
I don't know that it comes up to the LSU Auburn game. We went to New Orleans as well.
Yeah.
We had sit-down dinner. Emerald's very nice. Much more civilized than Vince is, probably.
I don't know. I saw some pictures of that event. I would say that the pictures of us were much more calm. There was no, in that one picture you posted, Jeff, I did zoom in to see, okay, where is Jeff in this picture? And I found you.
Yep.
All right, Nick, well, let's do this. We're going to take a break, a commercial break, and then we're going to come back from commercial break. We do a couple of things. We're going to do a speed round, talk a little bit more music. Maybe we can get beyond Men at Work and Stone Temple Pilots and dig in a little bit deeper with you. And then we do a lightning round, and then we do the favorite part of the show, which is kind of the cultural corner, where we kind of give some quick business tips. So we'll be right back. All right. And Jeff, you want to bring us back from break? Nick,
Well, is there anything we
need to
didn't
hit
cover?
for you?
Well, and first of all, you guys can edit out. Maybe I wasn't supposed to mention Joseph. I don't know if the audience know if he's there, but I did refer to him earlier. So was that a mistake?
No,
No
yeah, that's fine.
mistakes in podcasting.
Okay, all right. Joseph thought it was great.
Oh yeah, keep doing it.
We
No,
have
I'm
to
just kidding.
double Joe's pays this week. So
Yeah, doubled.
Hey guys, in regards to the music, I mean, listen, I don't know anything. I don't know shit about music, and so you can drill down more if you want. I can try to remember a couple more bands I listen to. I probably don't know the lead singers of any of the bands. Couldn't tell you the names of the songs or the lyrics. So I don't know where you're going with it. But,
no, that's okay.
You're a great guest.
What do you want to cover? Anything you want
Anything you
to
wanna cover.
advertise about the chamber? How people get in touch with you? What you want the general public to do? And
you guys, I'm not hawking chamber membership. It's whatever we're talking about leadership, whatever you guys. This is great. I'm just having fun.
yeah, it's great. Cool. All right, let's come back in 3, 2. All right, welcome back, everybody. This is exciting. We have Nick Masino with the Gwinnett CEO. Excuse me, CEO of the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. Is it the largest county chamber in the state? I just feel like it's got
Jeff,
to be.
First of all, let me reintroduce myself. I don't know who Nick Masino is, but I'm Nick Masino.
Masino. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
another friend of mine.
Yeah, I know. People have tried to introduce me to him many times, but it's actually, if you've ever gambled in a casino, I'll be there because I'm Nick Masino.
I always thought it was Cancino. Is that not where you go gamble? That's
very good.
My Alabama education coming through.
That was great. Yeah, Auburn versus Alabama, right there for everybody. Okay. The short answer is we are the largest suburban chamber in the United States. Our building is at 6500 Sugarloaf Parkway, and it is the largest chamber building in North America.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. All right,
Yeah,
so
it's
let's
a
move on.
powerhouse. I'm going to
Go
give
ahead.
the chamber a plug because I've told this to Nick many a times. I believe if you were opening a business in Gwinnett County and you became a chairman level member of the Gwinnett Chamber and were competent in your business, that would be enough to launch a successful business. Truly believe that.
Well, Vince, thank you so much. And I have quite a few board members and chairman's club members that would tell you that exactly what you just said is true. And one guy specifically about 18 years ago, left his company, had $20,000 in the bank. He got $5,000 out, went and joined at the highest level, chairman's club level, and he just sold his company, I think, for about $8 million 2 years ago.
Wow.
And he built it at the Gwinnett Chamber. Another guy had been kicking it around a tech company, wasn't sure what to do. In his like third meeting, he joined one of our kind of groups where we bring leaders together. And in that meeting, he told the folks in the meeting, the other business owners, I'm not sure if I'm just going to shut this down and go work for someone. And that guy, again, same story, incredibly successful. He has not sold his business yet, but could for millions and millions of dollars. It's all about the network. It's about meeting folks that are dealing with the same stresses and challenges you are, dealing with employees, customers, clients. You know, what software did you use for that? And then it's just the networking it's not just networking to, hey, let's swap cards. It's getting to know people, connecting and learning from each other. And thank you for the shout out. I'm pretty proud of the work that we do, and I'm pretty proud of all of our members.
Yeah, it's great. So Nick, before we leave the subject of music, let's pick from our youth, just to touch on it, favorite MTV video you used to watch.
Well, I mean, Hot for Teacher, Van Halen.
Nice.
Okay, there you go.
Are you kidding?
Because of the drum solo, the intro drum
the song
solo.
was fine, but the video was awesome.
Video was awesome. It was a great video.
What about you, Vince?
And the kids look just like them,
Yeah,
right?
they
Like
did.
they did a really good job in that video. For me, for like a favorite video, I used to like what's the California band, City of Angels? What's that? You know what I'm talking about? The under the bridge was it
the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh,
what's that song? Is it Under the Bridge?
Under the Bridge, that's right.
Yeah, dude. I would watch
That's your
in
video?
college. I would be watching that in college, doing some things that I'm not allowed to talk about on there, and be like, man, that is like such a cool video.
So cool.
Hey, what great! I don't remember the video, to be honest. I'll go look it up. But the music, Hot Red Chili Peppers, awesome band.
That's true. That's true. I think I'm going to go with the obvious choice of Billie Jean. I think I had heard Michael Jackson, the Off the Wall. I mean, I knew the Jackson 5 a little, but when Billie Jean started making airplay, first of all, it kind of broke down some, black-white issues in early MTV. Was dominant white. And so he was one of the early African-American artists to get on, he and Prince, I think. But I want to say he was even first. But that video is really, I mean, I feel like the three of us could go out and shoot that video. It's Michael Jackson dancing, right? And so it's nothing fancy, but Michael Jackson sure was fancy, right? He could dance, and it was just cool. And I just remember thinking, man, that's blew me away. Simple video, him dancing. It's great.
I saw something about that video because that's the one with the floor tiles light up.
That's right, floor tiles light up.
Technical challenges that they had getting the floor tiles to light up when he was walking on it. Now, of course, they would do that with green screen and make it look like perfect.
Yep, it was better. It was better, kind of flickering on and off.
Hey,
let's do a little. Go ahead.
Can I interject? You
Sure.
reminded me of Michael Jackson video. The Thriller video came out. I was in 7th grade. And it came out in the evening, and nobody was home. My brothers and my parents weren't home. I was scared to death.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I mean, I was so frightened. And when I look at it now, it looks so ridiculous.
So cheesy. Like, I never liked Thriller compared to Beat It and Billie Jean.
Could you imagine if Thriller, the zombies look like the Walking Dead zombies today?
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, they probably would. I mean, he had all the money in the world to make what he needed to make. So I guess that's the best you could do in '83 or whatever that was.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It was 83. That's crazy. You got that.
I thought you were going to say The Girl Is Mine, Jeff. That's your favorite.
That's a good one, too. I don't know that video so much. Is there a video for that?
Yes, there is. With Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah. That's a great video. Let's say, Say. Isn't that the video?
It's The Girl Is Mine. Isn't that what the song is called?
No, I don't think so, but we can table that. It's when they're like doing vaudeville acts out in the countryside, and that's a good video.
I'm not sure. All right.
I have a quick aside. This relates to business. On that video set, Michael Jackson has had Thriller and is now in the realm of real money, right? And so Paul McCartney says, you know what? One of the best investments you can make is buying old artists' catalog of music because it's only going to increase in value. It's a cash flow thing. You can own it and kind of do things with it, do re-releases and all this. And now everything's coming out on CD. So this, Michael, I've got this old catalog that I've been buying and you should do the same thing too. And so Michael went out and bought the old Beatles catalog. He got it written into his contract. Sony had to buy for $1 billion from whoever owned it. And so Paul McCartney went to him afterwards, was like, man, this is awesome. Will you sell it to me? Nope. He's like, oh, I guess we weren't friends like I thought we were friends.
That's when he says the copyrights are mine.
Yeah. Well, I think Michael Jackson Estate still owns much of the Beatles catalog. It's crazy.
That's amazing. Guys, you didn't ask it. Worst video ever?
Yep.
When I was in high school, I was a
Hot
high
for
school
Teacher.
wrestler. And no, Hot for Teacher is so good. There was a lot of attractive young ladies in videos when I was in middle school and
Nice.
watched a lot of MTV. But I used to listen to, before wrestling matches in high school, Eye of the Tiger. I mean, absolutely awesome song.
Yes.
I had never seen the video, but I was trying to play the video. Look at you. I was trying to find the song for my son, and I went to YouTube. Well, the video popped up. It is the most ridiculous song. All the band does is walk down the street for a minute,
Right.
go into a bar, walks through the bar out to the alleyway, and they start walking down the street again.
Yep.
But I don't understand it, what the purpose was, what it had to do with the song. But they had the Eye of the Tiger, apparently.
You should have shown the clip in Rocky 3 when they play Eye of the Tiger. That would be much more motivating.
Better
for
video.
Vinny. Yeah.
Right.
No, and that's what I was looking for, but I found the video. I thought,
The
I've
original
never seen
video.
this. Oh God, it's the worst.
It was terrible.
It kind of ruined the song for me, to be honest.
Right. Oh wow. All right.
Not really. It's still
Right.
awesome.
It's still awesome. All right, let's move on to Culture Corner, then end with the quick hit. How about that?
Okay.
The Culture Corner this week, I was going to talk. We've had a recurring theme where we talk a little bit about how do you know you're a bad boss? Because that's the purpose of this podcast, is that you're not the same boss as everybody else. And so I came across this article, I think in TikTok, by the way, because I am addicted to TikTok.
Wow.
Thank you. So anyhow, it was how do you know you're a bad leader, right? So I'm just going to rattle them off. There are 5 little points. We've talked about some of them, but I thought they were pretty insightful. Not recognizing people for doing good work. I think that resonates with us. Disrespecting employees. There was this survey in 2020. 72% of the survey population was treated in a rude or disrespectful manner by a boss. Wow, 72%. That's crazy. 83% felt bad about, 70% of respondents were criticized in front of their peers. 83% of those 70 felt bad about it. All right, so number 3, failure to communicate effectively. Number 4, lacking integrity. And then number 5, failure to give ongoing feedback as part of the manager-employer-employee relationship. So I thought that was a pretty good article. I like the stats around that. Do those resonate with you, Nick and Vince? What do you guys think?
Well, Nick, I would say yes, and part of those is those are things you try to avoid every day. They're tough. I will tell you, I'm a big fan of the 360, and so I try to regularly find out what I suck at and what I need to work on. And there's absolutely been a 20-year pattern. And so I identify them, and then I try to work with them, and I follow up. I'm a big fan of getting feedback. And at the CEO level, I'm just trying to make sure people aren't trying to tell me what I want to hear. So I can actually continue to, to me, you have to sharpen the saw every day.
Yep. How do you do that? Do you go to anonymous? You say, look, I really want to hear it. How do you avoid that kind of, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, Nick, you're the greatest person I've ever worked for? I'm sure they say that anyhow, but how do you make sure it's honest and true?
So I think I work really hard to connect and have an authentic relationship with the folks on my team. My office actually has 2 doors, one to a hallway and one out, to 2 different hallways. They're both propped open every day. And I'm facing the doors, and I have an open door policy. but I can tell formally, this is what I do on the 360s. We have an external consultant. I did it at my 1-year anniversary at CEO, and they met one-on-one with each of my report twos, and then both my chair and chair-elect at the chamber board, because those are technically my bosses. So I was trying to get it from every level, and nobody, like the board didn't ask me to do that. I thought, how do I get better? How do I sharpen the saw? I also try to, on an annual basis, meet with every single employee for 1 hour. I give them 6 prepared questions, but a lot of it's like free time to talk about whatever they want to talk about. And I ask, what can we do better? What can I do better? What's your great idea? If you've ever had the chance to sit down with the CEO, here's your chance. What's your thing you've always wanted to say? And what can we? You just ask open-ended questions and try not to overtalk. That my problem is I'll get into a great idea, but I want them to feel open to communicate.
Right, it's awesome.
And if you hear something and you don't get defensive, and you hear an idea and then you make it part of company policy or culture, all that does, Jeff and Vince, is invite more feedback.
Yep. Yeah, and the quickest way to shut down feedback is to ignore it. Is to pretend like it didn't come in. Someone gives some feedback or answers some survey, and then that's it. Nobody ever hears from it again.
That is a great point. And I have found, and I think this is true in customer service, if you actually hear something and then you fix it, people will forget that it was ever a challenge and then you addressed it. You got to remind them. And I think it's like when something bad happens, you're going to remember that. You got to do 12 great things to overcome that bad one. So 2 years ago, we took $50 away from the expense of every employee per month to pay for more of their insurance. And so when we reminded people that we're going to do it again this year, nobody remembered we had done it the year before. And so that was $600 in your pocket. We're going to do it again this year. And like 5 people raised their hand. They're like, what? You gave us $600 last year? I said, no, we reduced your expenses. And oh, you did? Remind us about that. And it was shocking to me. Well, we did it. We said it. And they got an improvement in their bottom line paycheck, but we didn't. So now we're reminding people all the time.
Yeah.
And, hey, remember we did this. And you have turnover, you have new people, and it's new to somebody every time we get together.
Sure.
All right. So Nick, we're going to do a quick lightning round. I'm going to ask you 10 questions. These are just quick hitters. Give the listeners some insight onto who you are. And in post-production, we take some of Jeff's original music and put it in the background, and it's fun. Are you ready?
Yes.
What celebrity do you look most like?
Danny DeVito.
That's not true. Favorite cartoon growing up?
I liked the Tasmanian Devil. Thought he was awesome.
Okay. Whiskey or wine?
Wine, 100%.
Steak and potatoes
the guy
or
that just got back from the Chianti region of Italy.
Okay.
10 days ago.
Steak or potatoes or fish and vegetables?
Will my wife ever hear this?
No.
Steak and potatoes.
Water skiing or snow skiing?
Snow skiing.
Impromptu or scheduled?
Scheduled.
If you could join one of these two bands, which would it be? The Backstreet Boys or Metallica?
Metallica.
I
don't even like that kind of music, but I cannot stand Backstreet Boys or anything like that.
You don't have to listen. It's just for you to be in the band.
No, that's a much cooler band. Metallica is so much cooler.
All right. Jeff is a big Backstreet Boys fan. All right. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird.
The Godfather or Goodfellas?
Goodfellas.
Is it true your family controls the Cleveland Mafia?
Yes.
Well, I've never lived in Cleveland. It was Cincinnati. So no. And we're from Philly and Wilmington, and I can't confirm or deny my mafia ties to either one of those areas.
Okay. Good to know. Anything left unsaid? Where are we at? I think that was a great conversation with Nick. I'm so glad that you were able to join us.
Yeah, that's great.
Get some great leadership insight. I loved your the dedication to your crew and team and giving them that time to talk to you. I would recommend that when you spend that hour with them, you give them some alcohol. That'll probably increase the amount of
Loosen them
truth
up.
that comes out of what they're saying to you. But I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you, guys. It was a lot of fun, and I don't understand how you two met. That's the mystery that I need solved when we get together next.
We'll save that for a part 2 show. Leave a little mystery. Leave them wanting more. That's what in the business.
I love it because Vince sends an email and you're on it. And I'm like,
that's
a unique last name. I think I know this dude.
Yeah, how many can there be?
Right, as many Nick Mancinos as you know.
Mancino is a great name. It's like Cancino.
Cancino, that's going to be I love that. Because I can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, when you run for president, you got to change it to Cancino. All right, cool.
Thank you so
much. This was awesome. Thanks so much for the time. People can reach out to you via the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce website, probably find you. And if they need to get engaged in Gwinnett, both Vince and I have seen it in real time, in real life. It works. It's an awesome organization. I've been around a lot of chambers. None of them are like the Gwinnett Chamber. I think you guys deserve your rankings of where you are and where you sit. I think it's a very impressive organization, and super impressed that you're in charge of it and doing a great job. And can't believe you're on our podcast. It was really exciting. So I appreciate it.
Oh my God, completely my pleasure. And hey, just some of my contact info: nick@gwinnettchamber.org. My mobile number 404-667-NICK.
Nice. I like that. Personalized. That's great. All right. Thank you.
Or incredibly cheesy. We'll never know.
No, it's very everything's classy on the podcast.
I'm picking up that vibe.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
All right, man. That was awesome. I'm stopping recording. I'm going to try to share it.